Hi, everybody. This is Punch. I just want to give everybody an update about how my WADA test went. It's a little graphic, so if you get like grossed out easily or whatever, uncomfortable, then go ahead and fast forward for a while. So I had a WADA test at the hospital on Friday. It's Monday. And this is how the whole thing went down. We checked into the hospital at like 7:30 in the morning. It was so fucking early. My mom had flown down just for the day. She came in Thursday night and left Friday night, and that made me feel so much better to have her there. Just because it's my mom, you know, and it was just great having her there. But anyways, we checked into the hospital, Providence St. Vincent, and we got into the room and I got changed into a gown, and a nurse came in and prepared the area for the angiogram, which means that I had a nurse shave my bits. So that was weird. Had I been asleep for that, I probably wouldn't have cared, but I was awake. So that happened, and then there was, they said we're going to start around 9:30, but there was a emergency in the cath lab, so we had to wait until almost 1:45, and I was going stir crazy. I just wanted to get it done. So while we were waiting, they came and hooked up the EEG. I didn't lose patches of hair, but it's coming out a little. And they hooked up an IV, which took them 3 tries to get it in, and I will show you one of the tries. You see that? Yeah. So the first nurse couldn't get the IV in, and she goes, I'm going to call IV therapy. And then the IV therapy lady came in, and that's her handiwork right there. You see? It actually looks better today than it did the other day. So I was real angry after that, and I hadn't eaten since the night before, and I hadn't had any water, no fluids, no nothing. So I was hungry, I was angry, I was thirsty, and they keep telling me, you know, soon, it's going to happen soon, and, you know, whatever. So my mom and I were just trying to, like, chatter at each other to keep each other company and out of boredom. So my mom had, like, 4 hours of sleep because she'd flown in late, and I hadn't slept really well, and no food, no coffee. I had the worst headache. I'm addicted to caffeine. It's okay. So then finally it was time to go back, and they wheeled me out of the room and into, like, this huge room with like an x-ray machine, and there's, you know, a bed, and they slid me over onto the new bed, and then there was like 8 or 9 people in there, and my neurologist hadn't even showed up yet, and it was like Dr. Thea Singh, like the surgeon that does the angiogram, and the nurses, many nurses, and like some lab tech guy that only spoke. He only told you what he was doing, but not what he was going to do. Does that make sense? So when he was sticking like the heart monitor and stuff on, he would be like, cold on the left, and just stick it on. So he scared the crap out of me. And I was trying really hard to like keep my shit together, because I was like, it's not going to take that long. I'm going to be fine. An hour and a half, you know, it'll be over, and like I can go home today sometime and stuff like that. Anyway, so the angiogram dude comes in, and I am totally naked on this table. There was a blanket folded in half on top of me. I was freezing, and a couple of towels on my privater areas. And they were very, very medical about everything. I haven't had to lay on a table naked for that many people ever. So that was a first. And the doctor came in, and he numbed the area in my groin that the catheter went into, and then cut it open, and you don't really know what's happening, but like you think you know what's happening. But I felt it, not in an uncomfortable way, just in an awkward way, go in, and then I felt it. I could feel it. Again, I might have been like just not really feeling it, and I just pretended like I could, but I felt it. Not all the way up, just like part way up my leg, and then you can't see what I'm doing, part way up my leg. And then when I got to about here, I just felt something, and then it got to my carotid, and it felt like there was something cold going, like not on top of my face or inside my mouth, but like in my face. And I was like, the hell was that? And I could like feel it. It was the most bizarre thing. And then they injected the dye to light up all the blood vessels in my brain. And he goes, it's going to be warm. No, it was fucking hot. Not like burning hot, but just hot. Like I knew. what was going on. So they did that. And then, you know, my neurologist came into the room and he was like, hey, how are you? Everybody's in all their medical gear and their hair nets and face masks. I very much felt like an alien that they were going to dissect because, you know, everybody's very clinical and they were all, and I'm laying there making jokes the whole time, trying to get one of the nurses to swap, you know, she can lay on the table naked and I'll do whatever she's doing. But she had an important job of making sure I didn't bleed to death. You know, just being punched, trying to keep it light. I was pretty fucking terrified. So my neurologist was standing next to me and he goes, okay, it's time to do this. Let's go. And I was staring at the ceiling and I just remember thinking, just get it done, Punch. You know, you're good. Just get it done. And he goes, raise up your arms. And so you put your arms straight out in front of you. And I'm laying on this table. I can't move my head. And there's all of these monitors over here and I can just barely see them. And one of them is my brain, my blood vessels in my brain, like lit up from the dye. And one of them is like my EEG because I had all the electrodes on my head. And one of them was like my heart rate or whatever, you know, all these important things. And so I kept trying to look because it was pretty fucking rad, like seeing, you know, my blood vessels and stuff. And they had to keep moving my head back. And he goes, count backwards from 30. We're going to give you the medicine now. And so I was like 30, 29, 28, 27. And immediately my brain just shut off on the one side. And it happened really fast, like really fast. And he was like, okay, what card am I holding up? And I was like, fucking tree or whatever it was, you know, shoe. I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot of it. And then all of a sudden I couldn't talk. And I didn't have my glasses on. So I was laying there and I had like oxygen and stuff. And I was laying there and I kept like trying to open my eyes and I couldn't. So my neurologist was straight like, open your eye. Look at this. What am I saying? And I was like, I don't. And I'm trying to talk. And I couldn't like vocalize what I needed to say, even though I could see it. It was a little blurry. I can remember that much, but I couldn't say it. So my mouth was just open, you know, and I was just making noises and I could hear myself making noises and I knew what I was doing. And then all of a sudden I got really scared. And so I started to cry. I was really, really freaking out. And he goes, she's having an emotional response. Make note of that. And then one of the nurses said, oh, you know, she's really taken this like emotionally. And my mouth was still open and I was still trying to say, and my eye kept closing and he kept holding my eye open. And then I started crying harder. And he was like, come on, pay attention. He's like, what's your name? Said my name. Show me your teeth. Stick out your tongue. Pick up your arm. And I couldn't pick up my arm. So I started crying again. And then he goes, okay, it's over. And I laid there and I was waiting for the medicine to clear out of my brain. And all of a sudden I was back, like not even 3 minutes later, like everything was fine. And I started talking and everything else. And I kept crying for a while because it really, really scared me. And he goes, okay, we're going to do the other side, but we're going to give you a few minutes to rest. And I was like, all right. So I'm trying to calm down. I'm staring at the ceiling and I'm like, okay, we did that side. It was not fun. It was not fun. I don't want to do that again, but I have to, you know. So a few minutes goes by and he's trying to make me feel better. And I really like my neurologist and he's trying to make me feel better. And so he's talking to me and stuff. And then he's, you know, say your name, stick out your tongue, you know, show me your teeth. How many fingers am I holding up? Like all these things just to make sure that I'm back. He goes, all right, we're going to do the other side. So this dude down here by my groin, you know, he's got this tube, pulls it out and he like goes in the other side. And they have to take x-rays to like whatever they're doing. And so every few minutes he's like, hold your breath, don't move. Okay, you know, so they can take the x-ray. And they have like this big guard so they don't get, you know, this thing right here. So they don't get like x-rayed or whatever. And then they put it up the other side. And again, it was like cold inside my face. And then he goes, okay, we're going to inject the dye. And then it's hot, you know. And
like, what?
Yeah. And so they go, okay, we're going to give you the medicine now to put your brain to sleep, the other half of your brain to sleep. And they did it. And like, I got all the way to like 15. I had my arms out in front of me and they're like, count down from 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. And I got down and down. So he's like, give her more, you know. And so I finally, that side of my brain went to sleep, and he's asking me these questions, and it's a different set of cards. And he's asking me these questions, you know, what's this? And I'm like, the word early. And I'm joking, you know, and I'm like, early, because I had to be here so fucking early today. And he's like, what's this? Terribly. And I'm like, it was so terribly early. And he's like, what's this? And I was like, I could hear myself like making jokes. And I'm like, fucking punch, you know, can't calm down ever. So that went by fast. And then after my brain woke up, he like asked me the things again to see what I remembered. And then they were like, okay, well, you know, you're done with that part. Now we're going to pull out the port and, you know, send you to recovery and stuff. So they gave me some painkillers or the good stuff or whatever it was to make me a little calmer, because I'd gotten pretty upset. And then they started pulling the thing out, and like you feel it kind of, because it's like pulling at a sensitive area of your body. So it was like annoying, and I kept going, oh, ow, you know. And Ethan's making noise. Tell him to stop. Say, stop it, Ethan. Anyway, so they're pulling it out or whatever, and I swear to God, I swear on everything that I felt blood hit my leg, because all of a sudden there was like a wet area on my leg, and then I started getting upset because I wanted to see it. I was like, show me the blood, and they're like, no. So they pull out the thing, and they're like, port's coming out, and then a nurse comes over, and she like got on a little step stool next to the bed, and she goes, this is going to be weird. And she takes 2 fingers and she sticks it right where the port was, because she's got to put pressure on there she doesn't want me to bleed to death. Hey, be quiet. I'm talking here.
I'll go over here.
And so she sticks her fingers in there and she goes, I know you don't know me, but maybe you should. Hi, my name is, you know, nurse whatever. And I was like, this is like the most awkward, you know, whatever. It was weird. It was just weird. So she stood there for 15 minutes, and there was like people standing around me just watching her like not let me bleed to death. And there was like 5 people, and they were like chatting with me, and I'm trying to be funny, all like, yeah. So I got so cold because it was cold in the room, and I'm like naked, you know, I just have like a blanket covering me, just the one. And so I started chattering. I'm like, and then the room started to spin, and I'm like, the room is spinning. Can you please make this room stop spinning? Like it was like, you know, spinning. And they were like, oh no, you know, maybe she's lost too much blood. So they're like asking me all these questions, like, what's your name? Stick out your tongue. And I'm like, why? And then she goes, just a few more minutes, we're going to stand here. And so she finally goes, okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. We're going to move you back onto your bed. Do not lift up your head. Do not lift up your leg. Do not lift up anything. Just lay there. Just be a rag doll. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know. So then they slid me over back onto my gurney, and they're like, don't lift up your head. Don't lift up your leg. Don't move your foot on the side where the catheter had gone in. I was like, all right. So they get me back into my room, and they're like, for real, don't lift up anything. And I'm like almost flat on the bed. I just had the one pillow. And my mom was in there, and my doctor came in, and he was like, I'm going to talk to you in a minute when your mom gets here, and we're just going to have a small chat, some preliminary results. And he came in and was like, well, it doesn't look good. We didn't get the results that we hoped for. This doesn't mean that it's the end. I'm going to go talk to my team, and I'm going to see what they think should be next, because if we were to do brain surgery right now, you could have up to a 60% loss of memory function or more, which doesn't mean that I would like forget y'all. I would just have really shitty short-term memory, and like I could like remember how to do shit like walk and stuff. And he said, you know, I don't know what to say to make you feel better. Thank you for doing the test, because they, you know, they've been talking me into this for a long time, but it just doesn't look great. So, then he said to me, you know, your brain's real tricky. It's real tricky. And I'm like, I know, that fucking bastard brain is such an asshole, that it wants me to have epilepsy. It wants me to stay like medicated, forever. Because y'all, brain surgery was my hope to get out from under this. It was the way to make myself feel better. I mean, maybe I wouldn't have been cured, but I don't have anything else, you know. Medication's not working. Brain surgery is probably not an option, even though I had that fucking terrifying test. Now I've done it all. I've done all the tests. So I don't know what else to do. And I don't know what else to say. I got Ron, so that's a plus. I've got my family. And I've got epilepsy. And it looks like I've got it for the long run. I do meet with my doctor next week. We'll see if he has any other good news or ideas. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm still not okay. Still epileptic, and it still fucking sucks. But I just wanted to update everybody on what happened. Pretty fucking dumb. But if you have any other questions, you let me know. I'll answer them. I don't care. And I'm going to go be depressed about having epilepsy now. Okay. So, I love y'all. Oh, right. Punk for Punch is coming up on April 27th, and we're working real hard on getting some stuff together for that. I would love to see everyone there. You can hear about, I don't know, my anxiety or whatever. Yeah. All right. Punch signing off. Bye.